breaking update coming in. Iran has retaliated as far as the Qeshm Island is concerned. We are learning that as far as the Gulf region is concerned, the fallout from the Qeshm Island strike is now triggering a fresh and a dangerous escalation between Iran and US. Iran has launched a retaliatory response following the US attack on the Qeshm Island with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, that is IRGC, claiming that it has carried out precise and intense missile strikes targeting American military assets in Kuwait. According to the Iranian claims, at least 10 short-range ballistic missiles they were fired as a part of this operation. Now, Iran says that strikes are a direct response to what the U.S. aggression against the Iranian territory, the attacks on the Qeshm Island, and this marks one of the most serious confrontation between the two countries since a ceasefire came into effect in April earlier this year, and this is raising fears that a fragile truce between the two countries that could be on the verge of the collapse. All right, so that's the latest we're learning as far as the attack and the counter-attack is concerned. We're learning that Iran has also issued a very strong warning to US, threatening what it describes as a crushing response if further attacks are carried out. So to put this into context, we're learning that US first attacked on the Qeshm Island, which is a part of Iranian territory and quite close to the Strait of Hormuz. And after that, there was a retaliation by Iran, and they have attacked the US bases in Bahrain and Kuwait is what we're learning so far. In fact, more details are emerging on this. And Iran has also issued a strong warning to US, threatening that there will be crushing response if further attacks are carried out against the Iranian regime. And with that, we have another breaking update coming in. IRGC has claimed that strikes on Bahrain, West Asia, tensions are boiling over. Iran has targeted US bases across the region, retaliation that has followed US strikes on the Qeshm Island, as we told you, and IRGC has claimed that US 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, that has been hit now. Iran has warned US against the Hormuz interference. Heavier consequences await is a warning that has now come in from Iran at this point in time. In fact, that is a warning that has come in from IRGC. We're learning that they have targeted US bases across the Gulf, but not just that, they have said that there will be more retaliation if, in fact, when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, there is interference in that key waterway, and West Asia is witnessing a dangerous new surge in the tensions as the confrontation between Iran and US intensifies across the Gulf region. The latest escalation, as we told you, comes in the wake of US strikes on the Qeshm Island, which is quite close to the Strait of Hormuz, with Iran now claiming that it has also launched retaliatory attacks against the military assets across the region. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has said that it has targeted the headquarters of the US 5th Fleet in Bahrain as a part of the response, signaling a significant expansion of the conflict between the two countries. Let me go across to former diplomat KB Fabian, who's joining us live on the broadcast. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us. How do you look at what is happening once again there in West Asia? US attacked Qeshm Island, a very important island of Iran, which is quite close to the Strait of Hormuz. And in retaliation, something that we saw in March as well, Iran has hit the US bases in the Gulf countries. Your take on this?
What we are witnessing is that President Trump does not know what he wants. He does not know whether to choose a diplomatic resolution or a military resolution. And at this point, he's riding two horses, and he is likely to fall. But let me make one more point. Senator Rubio, the Secretary of State, said, and he was talking so fast, when people do not have logic with them, they took too far. He said all that Iran has to do is to declare that the Strait of Hormuz is open. Well, I urge Iran to declare it open and add it will be open for 72 hours. And during the 72 hours, America should revoke its blockade and release the frozen funds. And then we can proceed. Sometimes in diplomacy, action is required, not words, words, words.
Absolutely. And once again, we are witnessing escalation there in West Asia. Sir, I would request you to stay on with us. We have another breaking update coming in, a statement that is now coming from the United States. In the latest, we're learning that the U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, has rejected the assertions made by IRGC that it has struck the headquarters of the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain and a U.S. airbase elsewhere in the Gulf region as well. In a statement, in fact, the CENTCOM has described the Iranian claims as completely false and maintained that all the attacks launched against the forces was successfully foiled as well. According to the U.S. military, there was no damage to the American assets, installation, operational capabilities, despite the missile and the drone attacks claimed by Tehran as well. Let me once again bring in KP Fabian on this. So how do you look at this statement that is coming from U.S. now? Because in the last almost 2 months, we have seen the back-channel talks between the two countries. Ceasefire was in place. There was violation once or twice. But now what we're witnessing at this point in time is a full-blown attack by U.S. and a retaliation that we have witnessed by Iran as well.
To the statement made by the Central Command, all that I would do is to recall what BBC Verified said the other day, that Iran has inflicted significant damage on more than 20 American bases in the GCC. So I think we have to take Central Command's statement with a pinch of salt.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for connecting with us. Let's keep our focus on what has happened there in West Asia, because in the latest, we're learning that there has been an attack by U.S. on the Qeshm Island, that is part of Iranian territory and very close to the Strait of Hormuz. And in retaliation, in fact, what Iran has claimed that they have fired at the U.S. bases in fact, Bahrain and other areas of the Gulf region as well. But now a counter also coming in from CENTCOM. They have rejected the assertions made by IRGC that it has struck the headquarters of the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain and U.S. airbase elsewhere in the region as well. They've called that completely false and maintained that all the attacks launched against U.S. are, in fact, they have been foiled as well.